Brewing Network.
Well, first, real quick, I just want to say to everybody that's out there listening, my name is Pepper Daniels. The Krush 92.5 is a local radio station here. We call it the Perfect Blend. It was created as a wine related radio station, but it's since expanded into all the great things about life on the Central Coast. That includes, of course, the craft beer movement that is happening here. And so I'm really glad to be a part of this. The Brewing Network here doing a series of YouTube and interviews and some content here today, so I'm glad to be a part of that. We welcome in Devon Randall. Devon comes to us from Pizza Port down in the San Diego area. It says San Marcos. I heard you say Solana Beach.
Yeah, I'm at the pub at the Pizza Port. Pizza Port and Port Brewing are separate. So
separate.
I'm at one of the pubs from Pizza Port.
Awesome.
From Solana Beach.
All right, well, let's. I'm going to ask you about that in a second, but I want to give you my impression. Solana Beach, went down there for a show, the Belly Up.
Yeah.
Right across the railroad tracks from you guys.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I go to Belly Up all the time.
Googled up, said, there's a pizza place right over there. Go to this pizza. I'm completely have no idea about you guys. I go in, and I'm astounded by the amount of craft beer that you have on tap.
That's awesome, yeah.
And the pizza, of course, amazing. The place was packed. I went back and I told my wife, I said, this is the most amazing pizza place ever. They had nothing but craft beer there. It was awesome.
There's 24 taps. We usually keep, a cider and a lager and maybe a wheat beer on. Other than that, yeah, it's all house beer. We'll have a handful of guest beers. Some of the other locations have 40 taps.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're definitely really, really into good craft beer. The owners have been into really good craft beer for a long time. So.
Yeah, let's talk about how it sort of developed, the idea, then how it sort of came to be, because there are multiple locations all throughout.
Pizza Port Solana Beach is the original, and it opened in 1986, and the brewery was installed in 1992. Brother-sister team, Gina and Vince Marsaglia. They're wonderful, wonderful people, and they still own it. So then from Solana Beach, they expanded to Carlsbad. There's a brew pub up there, bigger system. They realized this was a good thing, so they went from a 7-barrel system up to a 15-barrel system. Then came San Clemente some years later, and there's also a location in OB. And most recently, we opened up a production facility with a 35-barrel brew house, canning facility. It's absolutely beautiful, brand new.
Amazing.
And they're putting out cans now. So Ponto, Swami's, and Chronic are the cans that you can buy. I don't know if we're this far north in California yet, but we will be soon.
Yeah, we are. You can find them. How many folks have been to Pizza Port down San Diego area? Yeah, quite a few fans here. Look for the beers that are coming around, by the way. So you mentioned the early 90s. So in terms of the craft beer world, these guys were on the cutting edge. They were
one of the first.
Some of the pioneers of
Carl
it, right?
Strauss was down there. A few places that are defunct now. Stone was, starting up around that time.
Awesome.
So Pizza Port Solana Beach actually bought the first keg of Stone Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And,
Fun fact.
Came and picked it up from Greg Cook. He's done interviews and stuff, and he was like, I thought it would be easy. Like, people are going to come pick up my beer for me. And then it got a little harder from there on, but obviously Stone's managed to succeed really wonderfully. So.
Yeah, they're doing okay, I think.
We've got a good relationship with them, yeah.
That's cool. Let me ask you about the pizza idea with the beer, how it sort of came together as the original concept. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? The pizza or the beer?
The pizza came first.
Pizza came first.
Pizza came first, yeah. It was. I believe it was a pizza restaurant before that when they took it over. And the whole idea that I've heard from Gina is that they just wanted to stay in San Diego. Like,
right.
Just trying to find a way to make some money. And they're from Colorado. Mm-hmm. So it was like, do we want to have to go home, or can we make a business and make it work? So it started out with the pizza restaurant.
Awesome. Very cool. And over the years, as this movement has grown, and they've grown, what are some of the beers that you're known for? What are some of the things people look for when they come see you guys?
Swami's IPA is iconic IPA. I mean, It was kind of the West Coast style, so being pretty dry, very light on the malt, and very heavy with the hops. I think Swami's was one of the first ones and did it really well, and now they've The recipe over time has kind of been updated, but trying to keep with the same character. And so that is kind of the flagship can.
Nice.
Everyone seems to know Swami's. So
Swami.
that's the most flagship one. Also, the Chronic Amber Ale is a really good introductory beer. If you're not really sure about beer and just starting to get into it, ambers are a great way to get into it. And Chronic is also just, kind of funny and
right. It's got a funny name.
Funny to say.
Everybody chuckles. So
it works for people just getting into it really well.
It seems like a very San Diego thing.
Yeah.
Whoa, bro, go
The
down to
Chronic,
OB, get some
bro.
Chronic. Whoa,
Yeah,
what's
totally.
up? Totally, get some pizza port. Get some Chronic, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So as this movement has grown, San Diego has become sort of, very much a hot spot. Lots going on down there.
Absolutely.
You mentioned a good relationship with Stone and some of the others down there. Is Pizza Port sort of still a leader in the community as far as trailblazing and bringing everybody up with you?
We try to be.
Yeah.
They give us a lot of creative freedom. I'm usually not restricted from what I can do, and so the brewers, given a lot of freedom, are gonna take a lot of that and do a lot of really interesting things, a lot of new things. So I think we all of the pub brewers and the brewers at Bressie Ranch are all trying to push the envelope and try something different and try new ingredients, new techniques, and I think that's what it takes to move forward. And we've got, great resources around. There are a lot of other people doing the same thing. So as long as that's the spirit in the craft beer world, I think it'll continue to innovate and get better and get more interesting and try new and interesting techniques. That's what it's all about for me.
Tell me about the structure then, because you're talking about other brewers and you got all the different places around Southern California, just to speak vaguely, San Diego area. How many brewers are there? You all have your own little niche, your own little...
There are 4 brew pubs, and there's one head brewer for each one, and usually an assistant brewer. And then the production facility is going to be producing a lot more beer, so they need more brewers. I think they've got about 4 or 5 of them. And as they grow, they'll continue to add on more. Nice.
That's an interesting structure to me, that you have all these. It's not like the restaurants are really far apart. They're all real close.
They're all
so
really close.
Everybody has their own little territory that they run. The consistency, the similarity from one to the next. Is that a challenge for you guys to streamline that?
We used to all brew our own Chronic, our own Shark Bite, our own some of the beers that we like to have at all the locations. Swami's was specifically a Solana Beach beer, but the Chronic and Shark Bite and Cream Ale, Honey, we tend to have those at all the locations. They are all a little bit different.
Nice.
And if you were to go way out of the parameters and make it really strange, I think that maybe then we'd have to address it. But for the most part, we're all shooting for the same thing, and just the flair of each location comes out. I think OB's Chronic was the lowest ABV. They got them all tested, and Carlsbad's was a little bit higher. And their Chronic is the most popular at Carlsbad. They sell a lot of it there. So it was just different techniques, different touches that everyone has. So it's not really meant to be exactly the same at each location. Now that we've got the production facility, they'll be producing that and sending it out to us. So I think it will be more the same across all the pubs. But
that also then allows you to try these new things you're talking about, expand and do different things.
So it allows us to do some fun beers. So instead of making regular Chronic, I made smoked Chronic.
Okay. Everybody can chuckle now. She made smoked Chronic.
Using about 15% smoked malt, and I've always thrown a bag of red wheat into my Chronic, which is a little different. I don't think the other pubs do that, and it went really well with the smoked malt. So just having them produce it allows us to be even more creative.
Right,
to
very
just go
cool.
one step further with what.
We're talking with Devon Randall from Pizza Port, and real quick, before I ask some questions about you personally, how you got into this, but the difference between Pizza Port and then Port Brewing, just to clarify for people.
Important distinction.
Distinction.
So the way I see it, it was Pizza Port Solana Beach, and they started growing the pubs, and they had a really great superstar brewer, Tommy Arthur. And, they all came together, Gina, Vince, and Tommy, and they were like, we need to start a production facility. Like, this beer thing is going to take off for us. And so they did, and they called it Port Brewing, and it was in San Marcos. They actually purchased the lease and equipment from Stone. So Port Brewing is at the old Stone facility.
Okay.
They managed to make, I think, almost 100,000 barrels on a 35-barrel system, which is a challenge.
Yeah. Wow.
So they sold that to Port Brewing. So the three of them have this production facility for Pizza Port, was the idea. And then it became its own thing. Then Tommy started doing the Lost Abbey line. So Lost Abbey is Port Brewing, all brewed and packaged in the same facility, same brewers, different idea, different directions those beers are going. And Port Brewing just kind of took on a life of its own. They managed to grow this whole other brands out of the original idea, which was Pizza Port. And so those two brands kind of became a separate thing. They separated it from the pubs entirely. I think just legally it's a good idea so that if something happens, they're totally separate now. But since Port Brewing never became the production facility it was meant to be, they did the Pizza Port Brewing that now cans, that's just been going for about a year now. So,
nice.
So that's the difference. So Pizza Port production facility and pubs are owned by brother-sister Gina and Vince. Port Brewing Lost Abbey is Gina, Vince, and Tommy. And different idea now.
There you go. Very cool. You've mentioned cans a few times.
Yeah.
They're just starting to put 805 in cans here.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing it.
And I think there's a lot of similarities between our beach surfer community, Pismo Beach, Central Coast, and San Diego.
Yeah.
I always consider Pismo just a very small version of San Diego.
Little San Diego.
How are the cans going for you? Flying off the shelves? How do they work for that lifestyle down there?
Flying, I love them. I mean, you're not really supposed to take beer to the beach, but nobody's caught on yet.
Oh, really?
But it's perfect for hiking and boats and things like that.
That doesn't apply up here.
That's
I don't
awesome.
think. I don't
You're
know.
Lucky.
I don't know if nobody's ever told us not to take beer on the beach up here.
It's pretty cool for doing outdoor stuff and hiking and whatever, and just really recyclable.
Awesome.
Aluminum is a great thing. Because it just goes right back in. It's the most recyclable material that we recycle, I think.
Right,
so it's awesome.
Boom, right back into it. Devon Randall with Pizza Port here. I'm going to ask her a couple more questions. We've got a microphone up here. If any of you guys want to get in on this, I'll be the first one to admit today that I'm just a beer fan. I'm not a beer nerd necessarily. You want to come out, ask about ABUs and hops and malt and how much you do and how many barrels you do and that sort of thing. Feel free to come on. Feel free to come on up. Where are we at with pouring? We got the IPAs out there. Are they onto the sour already? Oh.
They probably should wait.
Yeah, let's hold off on the sour for just a second. Just because, how are we doing on time? We doing all right on time?
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
5 to go? Oh, okay. All right, just real quick, how'd you get into it? What was your first, when did the light bulb go off for you, I want to make beer?
Well, the light bulb went off one day when I was, I guess, about 25. I was doing real estate. My mom's a real estate agent. My grandma's a real estate agent. I had to try it, or they would never forgive me. So I tried it, didn't love it, and was just kind of looking around. I was like, well, what am I going to do? If this is not my path that I've been working for so long, what is my path? And just really threw myself into hobbies and things that I like doing, brewing included. I was part of a homebrew club, Pacific Gravity in Culver City, LA, which is an awesome homebrew club. They were great and really just good spirit. Everyone's really helpful, really collaborative. People will, come homebrew with you. And so I learned how to brew really with Pacific Gravity on the homebrew scale. And I just kind of decided, I was like, I'm doing this more than I'm doing anything else. I think I just want to brew. I just want to do that for my job every day. And I got really lucky. I came down to San Diego and started knocking on doors. I was like, hi, I'm a home brewer. Can I come just walk around and watch you? And at that time, everyone was small enough that, insurance wasn't quite prohibitive of that yet. At some of the bigger places, you can't just do that.
Right.
But I got really lucky with Lost Abbey, and they were like, okay. They were like, you need steel toe boots and work clothes. And I was living in LA at the time. So I went to Walmart, bought my first pair of steel toe boots and a Padres t-shirt, and showed up the next day. And the first thing we did at 6 in the morning was mill in for, usually at big breweries, they have a silo with 2-row, and you just flip a switch and it does it itself. We were brewing a Helles lager. It is all Pilsner malt bagged. So it was 2,000 pounds of bagged malt, 55 pounds at a time, up over your shoulder, 6 in the morning. I was like, holy crap, this is hard.
Yeah.
So
what did I get myself into?
Yeah, so they, started me off right, and they were like, yeah, it's really hard work, and we're not going to pay you anything.
Awesome. All right, real quick,
just don't make a lot of money.
We've had the IPA out there, so let's run through that IPA real quick to remind people some of the characteristics, what they taste, and then we'll get into that sour.
Cool. The Toronado Anniversary IPA, 6th anniversary. It's called All Sixed Up. It is on at the pub right now. I love the Mosaic hop, so I kind of been saving that for this. A limited amount right now that everyone gets. So this is Mosaic and Citra hops. Session Imperial IPA, it's kind of a joke. It's just messing with, all the Session IPAs that have come out, and everyone's like, well, what is a Session IPA compared to a Pale Ale? So some people have come up to the booth and been like, I don't get it. I'm like, I know. 6.3%, so it's pretty mellow IPA, really hoppy. I wasn't planning on it, but the way that everything worked out, I ended up dry hopping it twice. So dry hopped it, dropped the hops out, dry hopped it again. So it should be super, super full of hops.
There you go. How about it for the IPA, everybody? Had a little bit of the IPA. Now let's put that sour out there. This is our first one, so we got ahead of ourselves a little bit.
Did you get to try the IPA? Do you want to try it?
I didn't even try
if
it.
You'd like to try it.
My hands are too full here.
I still have some in my glass.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Super hoppy.
Super hoppy, but again, like you said, like a session, it's still kind of light and crisp and really
light bodied is
yeah.
Light bodied and dry. It's definitely a San Diego IPA thing.
And which hop did you say that was?
Mosaic and Citra.
Yeah, so good, so good.
And then the sour beer. You want to go ahead?
Yeah,
and
let's talk about the sour beer. Girls are coming around with the sour right now. This is kind of the new it thing in the craft beer movement. Kind of the sours.
Sour beers are tough. They're not easy to make.
Right. Tell us about this one.
So this one is called Beer Hunter Birthday, and this is a collaboration between Automatic Brewing, that's Lee Chase's brewery, and Nacho, who's the brewer. Nacho Cervantes is the brewer down in Ocean Beach at Pizza Port. So it's kind of a three-way collaboration. The first time we did it, we did a Belgian blonde, and it's a 4.5%, just really mellow, high percentage acidulated malt, really good yeast, White Labs yeast. I can't come up with the strain off the top of my head, but Nacho actually took that beer to GABF last year and won a gold in the session category,
nice.
Which is pretty cool. And then we took a lot of that beer and put it into barrels. I have room for 2 barrels at Solana Beach, so one of them is full of Beer Hunter, or was full of Beer Hunter, and it's a 2-year-old red wine barrel, so it's got a lot of oakiness that came out in this one. Used some sour cultures and 25 pounds of Rainier cherries. Have you ever seen those yellow cherries that come from Rainier, Washington?
Sure, yeah.
They are my absolute favorite.
That's great, yeah.
Took those, I froze them and then defrosted them. It kind of macerates everything inside, so you get all the cells burst and you get the character to come out more. I would have liked to have pitted them, but I cannot pit 25 pounds of cherries on my own.
There's only so much time in a day, right?
So I ended up putting them in whole, and they're still actually relatively intact. Aged that for a year in this red wine barrel, and the result is this really light-colored cherry beer, which is kind of what I was going for. Wanted to have a cherry beer that wasn't, a pink or red color. And it came out really nice. It's probably about 5%, but that's a guess, because with the refermentation.
I'll try some up here. Tell us about some of the challenges with the sour. Tying up barrels for a long period of time.
They take up a lot of very expensive real estate in your brewery. They are full of sour things that you don't want in your other beers, so they're kind of dangerous to work with. You can't go work with your sour stuff and then go transfer an IPA.
Right.
That's a bad idea. So, so they're hard to work with. They're unpredictable. It's relatively new territory.
Mm-hmm.
There are not a lot of books out there, like how to make sour beer.
Right.
There's a little bit of... Would you like some?
There we go.
There's a little bit of information out there, but mostly it's kind of passed around between brewers. Like if you have a question, you go ask someone that's making good sour beer. There's not something you can Google and necessarily get the right answer. So it feels a little bit like the Wild West. You're like, who knows what's going to happen with this?
And I think the trick is the balance between what sweetness and the tartness, and with the cherries here, you get a little bit of both automatically, right?
There's the wood element, there's the fruit element, there's the acidity, and then the Brett, which is a different kind of flavor coming through, as well as like the residual sugar, like what's going on still. This was pretty dry to begin with, so any sweetness that's going on is going to be kind of estery sweetness and acidity coming across the sweetness and a little bit of the fruit.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Everybody, Pizza Port down San Diego way. Everybody, why don't we give a big round of applause here for Devon Randall. Devon Randall.
Cheers.
These great beers. So go by and see her over at their booth over there and get some great beers. Good job.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
It's nice to meet you, Pepper.
The Brewing Network.